Hello and welcome to episode 26 of I'm Fine, a chat between myself, Damo, and moon landing denier, Mark. A chat around the subjects of health, wealth, well-being, fitness, sport, conspiracy and life-saving cycling tips. We're all work in progress and this podcast is no exception. In short, it's a poke at our perfectly imperfect lives, and if we can make just one person feel like they're not alone in all this madness, then our work here is done. Warm up and stretch, catch-ups to do, in work-life ballet, talking about wealth and what we wish we'd known when we were younger. When we were much younger than we are today.
Is that Somerset?
I don't know what it is.
No, young people always talk with a Somerset accent, and then when you're 18, you speak.
They're trying to give me 20 bits of your brain. Your brain or my brain or our brains?
I sent that through to you today. Having done more research, it's sort of, I said bits of your brain. It's more body and brain, but
cool.
That's okay.
Bits of your body and bits of
We're
your
all
brain.
work in progress.
Aren't we? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
With that front crunchy feeling. You remember that advert?
Yeah, thank Crunchy, it's Friday.
Yeah, what a brilliant advert.
Yeah.
Good, that's it.
You don't eat things like that though.
I'm a crunchy fan.
Are you?
One of our listeners is a big crunchy fan.
Right.
They've alluded
How big?
to it.
They're big or they just like crunchies a lot?
I think.
Or they're big because oh my God, what have I said?
I think their love of crunchies is big.
Right.
But their self-control is bigger.
Excellent.
But hearing this, they'll be running to the fridge.
What?
To get their 4-pack of crunchies covered in honeycomb, shreds of honeycomb dripping from their lips.
Oh,
yeah.
All right. That's a bit saucy for this time.
No, that's
of the day.
flake, isn't it? That's flake. Okay.
It's all got a bit naughty.
Bit quick.
You okay?
Very good, thank you.
You're looking sprightly. You came in and you just started.
I know. You're like
I was
saying,
like, no,
shut up,
yeah.
wait till the mic.
Went to the mics
Yeah.
on.
No, I'm okay. I think it's worth, you said just then, and we're going to say it's on Friday. And yeah, I think we should. I think it's also worth saying that we made the decision to change it, partly because we could, and partly that when I came on Saturday after some work I've been doing, I wasn't exactly a bundle of laughs. And although you said the listeners love doom and gloom, I think
I don't think I said that.
the fact that you edited 70 minutes out of the last two podcasts.
No, I was talking about light and shade.
Yeah.
I took all the shade out. Left the
Bearing
light.
in mind our mission statement is something like, it's all gold. There was a lot of tarnished copper.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I mean, it wasn't actually. It didn't take out any of your...
Morbidity.
Of your...
I use morbidity. Is that wrong?
I don't know. Should we do a...
Factcheck.org.
But yeah, USA Today. Condition of suffering from a disease or medical condition, a rate of disease. I think it might be the wrong word.
Well, my medical condition is that I'm a grumpy sod, so I guess it's...
Maybe. No, I don't think it's to do with being morbid.
Okay.
If that...
Yeah, morbid is the word. I just thought morbidity, but maybe morbidity takes us into medical.
Maybe.
Okay.
But I think what I took out was just some of the things that you probably felt were a little bit like unnecessary rather than on a mood-based scale. You know? Mm-hmm. I think it came across you that you had a bit of a tough morning, but it's all right.
Yeah.
We did, didn't we?
And although we are self-congratulatory constantly, and I am going to just allude to something in a minute, and you know what I'm going to allude to.
No, I'm not sure yet.
No, okay.
I'm not quite switched on yet.
I did enjoy the last 10 minutes of the last podcast. I'm just going to say it. I'm not even going to try and be like subtle and professional. I thought it was good.
Yeah, well, you came in not, for obvious reasons all over the place. And I think I was running on a bit of adrenaline, but underneath was not such a great place. Yeah. I think we got to the end of those episodes and thought, oh, what the hell was that? Do you know what I mean? I think we were
struggling to, we didn't think it was going to go to air almost.
There was lots of kind of waffle and silence to edit out, but other than that, it was surprisingly upbeat. Yeah. I think for how we felt.
Yeah, and a client today, which was really nice of him, a client that quite often gives feedback, said something, and I know I could have stuck this for the mailbag, but it's vocal feedback, was saying, he used the word a growing rapport between us, and I said we didn't really know each other that well.
No,
not really.
Not really.
We had,
not
bits but I didn't know that much about you, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And he said it's interesting to sort of have the growing rapport. And I thought the growing rapport was you just relentlessly taking the piss out of me for the last 10 minutes. You were.
Not without fuel, could I say? Like, you were just giving me material.
Yeah. And I listened back and I thought, I do say some inane things. It's like I just come out with a statement like, how ridiculous to use Kodak for your cameras.
And the first time I listened back after the edit, because I think I've said it before, I do 3. I do the edit so I hear it, then I listen back, and then I do like another almost kind of just as
Final
listening,
draft.
listening in the car. And it was just when you were... I'd missed it on the first 2 when you said taking the film down to snappy snaps or something.
To process the boots. Yeah.
I just thought, I'm pretty sure NASA wouldn't have done that, but it was just so funny.
This will come up in my apologies, so we won't say anymore.
I got some bookmarks.
Mm-hmm.
Moon landing. Because I just had a quick look at who started the moon landing conspiracy.
Mm-hmm. The third guy that was in wasn't allowed to come out, Woody.
Woody Collins.
Yeah.
He was on the ship. It took 400,000 NASA employees and contractors to put Neil Armstrong and Buzz Lightyear on the moon in 1969.
Did they all stand on each other's shoulders? That's how we got there.
What, like giants?
No, 400,000. They've all they just climbed to the top of 400.
That's why human lit ladder. Yeah.
400,000. Wow.
I need to get correct. You're like that today.
Yeah.
I need to step up.
As madness would say, one step beyond.
But only one man to spread the idea that it was all a hoax. His name was Bill Casing.
Mm-hmm.
Began as a hunch and intuition before turning into a true conviction that the US lacked the technical prowess to make it to the moon, or at least the moon and back. Casing had actually contributed to the US space program, albeit tenuously, between 1956 and 1963. He was an employee of Rocketdyne, that's a cool name, it's like Cyberdyne in Terminator, a company that helped to design the Saturn V, is V5?
Don't know.
V as in
Roman numerals, That's how old the rocket was.
Yeah. Saturn V rocket engines. In 1976, he published a pamphlet called We Never Went to the Moon, America's $30 billion swindle, which sought evidence for his conviction by means of grainy photocopies and ludicrous theories. Yet somehow he established a few perennials that are kept alive to this day in Hollywood movies and Fox News documentaries, Reddit forums and YouTube channels. So it's quite a ripple he created.
Mm-hmm. I'm saving the response to the apologies.
Oh, on that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I should have put this at the end then.
No, that's fine to put that in there.
We talked about the Freeman Law, didn't we? Which was a kind of movement to be non-consenting of statute law.
Yeah.
And then another thing, I think we've kind of talked about off mic in terms of people starting to quote Article 61 of the Magna Carta. So I looked that up because I didn't know what it was. No. I saw people talking about it. Some shop owners have been putting it in their window, haven't they? And in the hope of trying to stay open. Yeah. And the police coming up and going, oh no, they're quoting Article 61 of the Magna Carta.
We're stuffed.
Yeah. Let's turn around, boys and girls. So Article 61 of the Magna Carta allows for lawful dissent and rebellion. It also means that businesses don't have to close under COVID-19 regulations. That's the claim.
They didn't write that. That's not word for word from the Magna Carta, is it?
No, COVID wasn't in it.
Ye old COVID.
COVID 1.
No. No, it'd be X1X. God, I didn't think I was going to get that out in time.
No, it's good. I normally talk over your punchlines, don't I? Yeah. So the verdict, this is all incorrect. Clause 61 of the 1215. That's old. Isn't almost as old as a hatchet.
Lunchtime.
Yeah. Of the Magna Carta. I can't keep up. I need to, come on. The 1215 Magna Carta set out rules for 25 specific barons. It did not allow the general population to rebel, and it was also removed from subsequent versions of the document. A number of posts on social media have claimed that under Article 61 of the Magna Carta, people have the right to lawfully dissent or rebel if they believe they're being governed unjustly.
Okay. But it's only the barons that applies to.
Yeah, I don't think we have those anymore, do we?
Well, I'm just thinking.
Are you one?
No,
going to reveal you're a baron?
It wasn't long ago, and I haven't flown on Concorde either, but it wasn't long ago that we were discussing getting a knighthood or whatever from Sealand.
Oh.
We were going to apply for an online...
Yeah, that's right, we were, weren't we?
If they've got barons on the menu...
I'm not sure whether you have to be on Sealand in order for that to come into...
You can do it online. You can apply for them online.
No, I mean whether that...
carries the jurisdiction.
Yeah, where you can only be a baron on Sealand. Sealand barons.
Got you. So you can be a visiting baron to... No, okay. It's complicated.
Yeah.
You need someone to look into it.
Got it. She'll be back in a minute. She's gone out for snacks.
She's gone out for International Men's Day.
I wonder what that placard was.
Yeah, it's a protest.
Other posts, I can't keep up. Other posts show a video shared thousands of times by a business owner in Liverpool telling the police he did not plan to shut his business and citing Article 61 of the Magna Carta. This is wrong. The original version of the Magna Carta granted powers to assail the monarch and seek redress to 25 barons in order to keep the provisions of the Magna Carta. But these powers were not granted to the population at large. Within a year of it being written, this clause was removed from subsequent versions and was never incorporated into English statutory law. So
they're on a sticky wicket legally.
Yeah, it was on pretty sketchy ground to start with.
Yeah.
But a fair play, give it
a go.
Browser tabs. I did check. There's no official competition or entry in the Guinness Book of Records for how many browser tabs you have open.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah, well, that's it though, isn't it?
There was no records before the book started, was there?
No.
There wasn't a world tour this man.
Yeah, most of these Guinness World Records are just absolute nonsense, aren't they? How many balloons you can pop in a bath of ping pong balls, you can just literally come up with anything, can you?
Yeah.
We could come up with something and do something now and be world record breakers, couldn't we?
Longest ever podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I made some, hopefully, have you still got those all open?
Right.
Cause,
so I went home because I'm nothing if not whatever the word is. So I'm prepared to learn and prepared to think that there is no reason to have 127. So
did you go home and take a good long look at yourself?
I had a good long look and I thought, just get your life in order, because I wrote a to-do list today as well, so that made me
because I kind of made the comment about, I think under my breath going, you don't know yourself, do you?
No.
And so, I thought that might have sounded a little bit, I feel that if you'd gone away and made yourself a better person, it bad.
And I'm just going to look now.
You've still got that emoji.
Yeah. But I did dip below 100.
There's a whole Reddit thread about that emoji and how many tabs you should have open. It's quite an evocative conversation.
I do get some enjoyment from this. So I'm just going to, this is me. This is welcome to my brain. International Women's Day, bone china, starter hair running, testosterone, Toff. The woman that went on I'm a Celebrity.
Oh, yeah, I like her.
Vegas nerve, the meaning of reciprocal, Jaden Stockley, no idea who he is.
Is this all podcast content?
Charles Darwin, coronavirus.
Because there's me struggling for things to talk about.
And berserk lyrics. Let me go with berserk lyrics. Let me just come in now, left field.
Do you think this is kind of like a lucky dip on your tabs? That's a great section.
Okay.
Why don't we just have a new section?
Just do the music.
What have you got open? I haven't got any music for it. Hold on a minute. Let me see. We can use this one.
Tabs of the day. Today, berserk lyrics, Ivorian doll. Didn't say that
Do you
very
want to start that again?
Berserk lyrics, Ivorian doll. That's the tab that's open.
Ivorian doll?
Ivorian doll.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about.
So the Pogues, what's it? Christmas Nightmare. What is it? The Pogues Christmas.
Fairy Tale of New York.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's now been censored.
Yes, by
so
the
they've
BBC.
got rid of the word faggot because it has derogatory references.
Yeah.
It also is an Irish word that doesn't mean what it's been made to do.
Does it mean like meatball?
No, I think it has like, I got it. We will check. I think it's, you might have to check.
Like idiot?
I think it's like idiot. Yeah.
Okay.
They've censored it. I don't agree with censorship in terms of.
Sean McGowan's not happy about it either.
Oh no, Sean McGowan on Twitter.
Yeah.
Lawrence Fox, your mate.
Yeah. Hold on a minute. Yeah, but go on. Depends what you said.
Basically tweeted, the world's gone crazy.
Yeah.
We're censoring, this song.
Yeah.
And then the Pogues official Twitter told him to fuck off. And someone said,
oh, right.
This sums up 2020, that someone who's very right wing is acting for free speech. And the people he's trying to give free speech to, i.e. the band, tell him to fuck off.
Yeah.
And it's woke gone mad. He wasn't expressing right, and everyone's calling him a fascist. And he's trying to go, this should be free speech, we shouldn't change it. But because he's right wing, everybody's laying into him.
I'm not right wing, just for record.
No. Well, you said
you just said he was my mate, and then went on about.
You referenced him, or was it you said you liked his?
Yeah, it's hardly a mate.
Yeah.
Strong.
Okay, so this is what I did. This is how my mind works. They banned the Pogues. So I thought, if you're banning the Pogues, does that mean that you're taking a stand on lyrics generally? Or is it because it's Christmas coming up and you're playing that? So
it's going to get paid 5-10 times a day, isn't it?
Yeah. So as I listen to a lot of grime, and I know the lyrics in grime aren't necessarily politically correct, I went on to Radio 1 Extra and thought, let's look at your playlist. and I took this track at random. It isn't a track I know, which is why I did it. It's called Berserk.
Is it actually on the playlist, Radio 1 playlist?
On the Radio 1 playlist. It's either the A or B playlist. I can't remember, but I played regularly. I'll just read the words that I can. Now, obviously, these have to be beeped out on Radio 1
Can you just read
Extra.
all of them?
No, I can't.
No, please read all of them. Hold on, this is being played.
They're having to beep out.
So they're playing this, but they're beeping these words.
I haven't heard them play it. It's on their playlist. I haven't heard how much they're censoring
Just
it.
read them.
Don't play any of this, but this is it, right?
I'm not going to play it out. I'm going to beep it. That's why if you just read it, I'd have beeped it and it sounded really funny because it'd just be full of beeps, wouldn't it?
Okay, right.
Shall we go for the top?
Okay, I'm going from the top. I won't do the first. Yeah, I'll do the first bit.
Just read it as if no one's listening.
Okay. I'm expecting your editing to be spot on. I've got a lot of love out there and I'm not going to ruin it for this. Okay. Ha ha, who else beat up the ting like drum? When you eat, please don't leave no crumbs. And as I mentioned, that's oral sex reference.
Yes.
True, I'm a greedy I want it all. Rule number 1, to be a boss ass don't give the out if ain't rich. He might pay in full, might like my name was Mitch. I just walk in the room and his ting gets stiff. True. How dare you come for me? How? When I just make your come for me, you is my kids, I want custody. Too sick, think I need to go pharmacy. Big B, but you knew that ain't going nowhere like a new tat. Be nice and I might give you your boo back, but he's stuck on me like the blue tack. I hop on the tip, the just drip. I did kill the D and now they say R.I.P. I just hit a lick, you ain't slick, I just cut him off.
Good grief.
I think...
Good grief. Now, anyone's going to have heard is
beep, 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 beep. And they might even get the undertones of what that is. Now, I think that comes under sort of...
how do they play that on Radio 1 without there literally being no words in it?
I'd like to see if we can try and hear the version, because I'm wondering whether they leave... If they take out everything that we've just beat...
There would just be music.
No, but there's still enough in there to know.
But sometimes on these tracks, they literally do a radio-friendly edit.
So maybe before we're doing all this... So unless they want to use what I've just done as a radio-friendly edit...
And you might be going on to say this. The people who are listening to this know what they're actually saying.
Yeah.
Don't they?
Yeah.
So by playing it, even though it's edited, aren't they just condoning the message behind that?
And every young person who knows the lyrics sing along, but sing...
Yeah. Where the word faggot in the Fairy Tale of New York, from what like you just said, from the Irish perspective, isn't actually meant in the way that it's currently being taken. Way. Other than that everyone's happy with the sentiment. It's a good set. But also Shane McGowan, I think, was saying, I heard on the radio, was saying that the woman character in that was Kirsty McCall.
Yeah.
She said she's in a really bad place and she's actually not a nice person. So it's very reflective of her character.
Right. What, in real life?
No, in the
song.
In the tone of that song.
Yeah, of course it is.
So it's relevant.
Yes.
She said you take that out and it actually changes the kind of the meaning and intent of the song.
Yeah. But I
it's
think...
a bit insulting to say, we'll bleep that. But all the kids know the real words. They have that in their ears, 10-year-olds listening to that kind of filth. That's okay. And Radio 1 are okay
but it's
promoting this artist, aren't they? And this song's been around for, 30 years, maybe more.
And the majority of, or a lot of grime music has either very sexist or very, direct views. That, I think, the one I've just mentioned, I think, is from a female perspective. Right. And there is some stuff that's coming out on grime at the moment where female artists are trying to reverse.
Right.
It's a little bit like the Spurs fans using some of the anti-Semitic chants that were used towards them, and they turned it on themselves by using the same words in their own chants. Yeah. And I think this is a little bit about female artists trying to show control sexually rather than going, we're going to be beholden to men.
Yeah.
But I think what we're talking about is music that's coming out of the radio that contains anything that's considered explicit. Yeah. And
also that artist is representing that genre and that messaging, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't banned the song. They are playing a different version of the song that takes that word out. Correct?
Yeah. It's interesting here that in dictionary.com, they say faggot is sometimes used within the gay community as a positive term of self-reference. And that's similar to what I was saying about the Tottenham supporters. Mm-hmm. Yeah, someone has come to a decision, and I suppose they've spoken to some people. And I did see someone referring and saying that, the heartache that word causes. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but I mean, I'd like the new Robbie Williams Christmas song to be censored.
Not really.
Yeah, not released. Have you heard it?
No, I haven't. Oh, is it? I used to be a fan of his.
It's lyrically, I think he must have a 7-year-old niece that wanted to get into songwriting.
Oh, okay, maybe.
It's dreadful. Some of the language I'd find quite sad that it's been used. The song itself, in my view, is dreadful, but Yeah, one or two of the lyrics, which I don't really want to repeat now because they're really harmless. Maybe I'm just
Don't give me more editing.
yeah.
There's any swears in it.
No, he just makes a few references, and I think it almost feels just a little bit. It's about COVID and about how it's affecting Christmas and how we must
I'll leave it alone. I'll leave it alone.
Yeah,
We've all had enough of that.
yeah.
Don't listen to him wanging on about it.
I think it'd be treated more seriously if we called it COVID X1X instead of 19, don't you?
It's marketing, isn't
Roman
it?
numerals.
Yeah, sounds pretty.
Someone's missed a trick there.
Sounds pretty. I think I want it. If it's called that, I want a bit of it. But your messy tabs kind of got me onto kind of a little looking at messy kind of workspaces, and I found a picture of Einstein's desk. I'm going to show you. I'll put this on the socials.
Okay.
Have you seen? That was a picture of Einstein's desk taken on, I think, the day he died. So he died April 18th, 1955, and a photographer from Life snapped his desk at Princeton hours after Einstein had died. He gave new meaning to the saying, cluttered desk, cluttered mind. Perhaps genius requires a little disorder.
Yeah, indeed.
But that is one messy desk.
Yeah. Hasn't even got a PC.
No. I like that. I like kind of dipping into your tabs. That's just a wealth of research. Because I was thinking that none of those is probably research for the podcast. It's literally where your mind goes every day.
I don't know who Jaden Stockley is.
Do you want to have a look?
No, I can't use the whole of this to...
Okay. Well, at least I know that if I'm struggling, for something, it could be a new section. I think it's pretty strong.
Despite the humour of our space talk, I listened and I thought I wouldn't have a clue from that discussion what either of us thought.
Oh, I would.
Would you?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay. So the other apology was I made a reference to Pfizer vaccine and I think, quote, it's a load of bollocks.
Yeah, sounds about right.
What I meant was...
Is it not a load of bollocks? Just to clarify.
No, what I meant was it's like reading the bloomin' football results. So over the last 7 or 8 days, it's gone Pfizer 90%, Sputnik 92, Medina 95, Pfizer 96 and helping old people. It's just going bigger and bigger. And within a week, I was joking that Donald Trump's going to say 104, I think I mentioned, because he'd always go a bit more than 101.
Yeah.
But we're running out of percentages. And now Oxford have come in today and India is going to be, the vaccine's going to be out in India by December.
What, the Oxford?
Oxford 21, which I thought was a UK one, but...
Oh, it's not?
Well, I think it must be, but there must be some Indian investment in it. Because there was, and very, very cheap, like just a few dollars per injection.
Because that is the deal, isn't it? We'll give you some money, but we're at the front of the queue.
Yeah.
We're not daft.
Yeah. But I think it's that, all I'm apologising for is I didn't want to sound flippant. If we've got a vaccine and we're all saved, brilliant. But you could almost, this bit about looking retrospectively, whoever says 90, the next person isn't going to come out. So Moderna,
89.
Yeah, we can't match that. We'll keep quiet.
You're not even going to make the news, are you?
No. And so Pfizer have done a deal with Emirates Airlines because it has to be stored at -70, -80 and to how to fly it in and keep it cold. And Moderna have come up in America and go, no, ours doesn't need to be that temperature. And it's like when you buy a new car, there's something new. And I often think they must have known about that 5 years ago. And so it's like that. You look at cars and you go, oh, that's brilliant. I've got a heated seat or I've got this or I've got that. And it isn't new technology. No, as you say, it's just like we're being played just a little bit more. And I think that's with the percentages. That's what I'm saying.
When you run out of actual product features, you come up with gimmicks.
Yeah.
Car manufacturers do it all the time.
Yeah.
They don't want to talk about ride quality, steering accuracy, feel. They go, the car's got Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And a camera. There was one that came out. He's got a camera behind the rear view mirror. I'm sorry, but that's a little bit dangerous, right?
Yeah.
What's that got to do with a car? They're selling a car based on it's got like Wi-Fi connectivity. Yeah. Sorry, but I'm interested in driving, not playing Fortnite.
Going back to the Pfizer thing very quickly was they came out with something this week saying, oh, by the way, we've looked at our tests and it's actually really, really good for people over 65. We'd looked at our results and it's like way better than we'd imagined. And I'm thinking, a week ago, you didn't have those.
Yeah.
And the newsreader said, at the moment, we don't have sight of these results, but Pfizer have informed us. And it's...
We're going to believe them.
Yeah,
They've
and maybe they have.
Okay.
But a week ago, they didn't have it. And now they have. And Moderna have said theirs is equally good. And then the other thing, I think Pfizer said it's equally good for every age group and every ethnicity and gender. And
so how would you sum it all up?
I think it's a load of bollocks.
Excellent. We haven't really talked about money.
It's the only thing I think we've had a bit of dissension on in the past.
Not between us.
Not dissension, but sometimes when you've come to a session and we've mentioned...
Oh, right. Or you've sent me the, look at this.
Yeah, look at this
dumping his shares.
Yeah.
And I've gone, yeah, good lad.
Just the little bit that sometimes when I've either texted something or sent you a picture of someone with money and your first reaction has been, if there weren't billionaires, you wouldn't have running water.
You're just
You'd be back in the dark ages, cycling in the middle of the cobbles, amongst all the shit that people throw out their windows because there'd be no drainage without the head of Amazon.
Yeah,
Jeff Bezos is keeping you clean.
Yeah,
no, I
still have the plague.
Yeah,
yeah,
still have.
Oh God, yeah.
No, I think what my feeling was. Occasionally, I see.
I think it's what you said at the beginning. We kind of there's still lots about each other that we don't know, isn't there? We've got a little bit of a feel, and there's things we put out here, whether we're poking the bear or not. There's a little bit of I don't know how it's going to come back. Like I got a bit worried in the last one. I thought you were going to punch me. I was like, I don't know what button there is that makes you go over the edge.
No, I don't think there is.
Turn into Hulk.
I think, yeah.
I had no idea.
I don't think there's a button. I just think
bursting out of your top anyway. It can't take much to rip that open.
Anecdote. Was at a festival. I can't even remember which festival. I think it was Festival down in Dorset about 5 years ago with the family. And there was this comedian. And he stopped the act halfway through and went, God, look at you, like that. And like pointed at me.
Right.
As an introvert, like I don't want to be recognised in a blooming tent by a stand-up comedian. And he said something about how old was I or something like that. And I was just going like, no, fuck off, like no attention. And I think Amelia was there, and I think she said something like, oh, he's 55 or whatever I was at the time. And he went, God, you're fairly ripped, like that. And it's like, no, seriously, go away. And he went, I bet you could rip that T-shirt in half. And I'm thinking, I'm not positive that I could.
No, but part of me's going,
I reckon, game on. So I sort of held the T-shirt here and thought, I think there's enough give that I can get away with it. And I go, nah.
You're waiting for everyone to go, yeah.
And then, the whole tent's erupting with like encouragement.
Yeah.
3 or 4 of them. And anyway, it got to the point that he went, stand up and rip your T-shirt. Like, have it on you, but rip it up like the Hulk. So I stood up and did it.
Did you?
What a prick. But
did you do it, or did you kind of get a bit halfway and then?
It was a really good, nice T-shirt. I really liked the T-shirt.
Was it worth it?
He gave me a can of beer. Well, no, not really. Somebody doesn't drink.
That's the only T-shirt you took to the festival anyway, isn't it? That's what you were sleeping in as well.
The rest of the time I got painted blue. So yeah, that just reminded me when you said that.
Did you get a round of applause?
I got a round of applause, some laughter, some sympathy. And then he used
and a couple of
he did it on Twitter. He did a few references to it on Twitter. It was like, a little bit harsh, some of the stuff on Twitter. But anyway.
I'd have been dying laughing. Yeah. Very good.
Okay.
So
money.
We had that email from Tim a few episodes ago, so it's taken a bit of a while for us to follow up. But he made some good points and made me think about why we weren't taught the kind of basics of kind of personal financial management at school. And I don't think I was actually at all. And
I'm guessing there will be more now. I think I said that in the last podcast. I'm sure the banks have come on to that.
I don't know. I've had a look into it, and I'm, asking around anecdotally. I don't think they really do, which I think is a bit of a shame. Just simple ins and outs, even whether you're running a business or it's the same kind of thing. Yeah. I try and make sure there's more ins than outs in a very basic sense. But also, I guess I probably want more interesting kind of attitudes, because I don't think any of us are going to sit here and pretend we're Martin Lewis. I don't have any advice that I think is good enough to give anybody. No. But I just thought, even just us getting to know you, getting to know all of that, it might be,
I think I'd take
being slightly different ages.
The attitude to money is one thing. Just taking a step back to the discussions we have had, it's tended to be where I've said, these people aren't paying tax. And you're going, well, if they don't have to, accountant's job is to, in some ways, nobody wants to pay. If there's a legal way of paying less tax, you're going to look and do that. I think why I think I've changed in the last few years is I think some of the wealth the distribution of wealth is just becoming abhorrent to me.
Yeah.
And that there has to be a time when you can say there is no way any one person in this world should have more money than small countries. It just feels... and no matter even if they've got altruistic visions, I think Jeff Bezos is going to try and set up somewhere in space, isn't he? Like trying to find a holiday resource or something.
Like Mars.
And I know quite a few people have done really, really big things and donated a lot of money. I'm not knocking that, but I'm just saying this constant accumulation of wealth sometimes makes me feel a bit uncomfortable. Yeah. It seems to be all an end all.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think I might have said it before, but I'm up for kind of a free market and a free economy and competition. And I think that's really, really healthy. But of course, like anything, the boundary of when it becomes unhealthy is often just down to your own moral and ethical code.
Yeah,
I agree to a point where you say no one needs $1 billion.
No,
I think it's fair. You can't really argue against that. However, what point does it become okay? And it's not going to be £1 or $1, is it? Where you go, you do need that. Yeah. No, you don't. It's just where the lines are drawn. And
I'm definitely.
When does it become obscene? I guess is my point. I don't know where that is.
No, I don't think nobody ever could decide for one person it would be more than another. I think we're on this spiral. We've discussed this before around social media, and I don't know which of the podcasts, but I have been doing some research on the old Instagram terms and conditions. So on the next 2 or 3, going to go through that. But we're getting to the point on social media where 4 or 5 organisations run the world, basically. And I was listening to a podcast, I think it was Knocked Conscious, and they were discussing how does someone get into the market? So how do you become? And they were mentioning, well, TikTok managed it. And then they were talking about 1 or 2 other organisations that have been around, like MySpace and Friends Reunited, who had failed because their business model, I think Friends Reunited, you had to pay a little bit.
Yeah, and it was also I guess this time is a little bit ahead of its time.
Yeah.
In almost the technology and the connectivity and the know-how didn't quite bring that together.
Not to monetize it. Yeah. But they were saying, apart from TikTok, and obviously that's instantly been followed by Instagram Reels, how can anyone ever get in the market? And maybe there'll be something under AI or virtual reality that another organization will come in. But Amazon are not going to, Amazon have got it to a key. They're only going to grow and grow.
Yeah. And it used to be the oil companies, hadn't it? They used to be the big ones, the most valuable companies in the world. I can't remember exactly when some of the tech ones did overtake.
Yeah, or pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals is going to be the other one that's going to be up there.
And they're still big, but they're not anywhere near the tech companies these days.
No. But the stuff that's coming out now, the thing that which we'll do again on Instagram a little bit later, or another podcast, is just suggesting to me that the dollar now is all important, and things like integrity and humility and a sense of real doing good seems, if they're there, they're very, very well disguised.
Sounds a bit boring to me.
I don't know.
What are these good things you speak? Show me the money.
Parody.
That's all very well, but
yeah. I know you're being ironic.
We're kind of getting into altruism here, aren't we? In terms of, is there anything? Can true altruism exist? I don't think it can. Genuinely, I don't think it can. And it's a little bit like that thing where by measuring something, you change the thing. I think there's an element of, as something progresses and gets good, more often than not, money gets involved at some point, whether that's money to invest to keep that thing going. And then, of course, that kind of has to come back sometimes. Or if there's an opportunity for it to come in and you don't have to put it in yourself, you'd take it up, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because no one's pockets are, they're bottomless apart from the Bezos of this world. So it's that, again, it's about that balance. It's the band analogy. It's okay until you get a bit good. It's okay until you start to fill the venues and you need a bigger venue.
Yeah, it was like when a footballer takes a contract and then becomes Judas for improving himself and getting more money.
Yeah. It's a funny one, isn't it?
I'm not trying to just do the altruism thing as like wealth is bad and you should give it all away. I'm not saying
that. No.
I agree with the free market.
But it's a balance, isn't it?
Because George Clooney's just given £1 million to 14 people, or $1 million, hasn't he?
Has he?
And you think number 15 on his list is going to be so peeved.
Right, yeah. Just missed out.
Yeah.
Well, Dolly Parton gave £1 million to vaccine
stuff,
research.
Yeah.
And you're like...
I think she could be next president.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a good shout, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really good shout.
Can't see a lot of downsides.
Yeah. Generally, the people who are having a pop at the billionaires are the people who aren't billionaires. Or if you can have a pop at someone with money driving around. Billionaires aren't having a pop at billionaires for being billionaires. You can see what I'm saying. It's all relative, isn't it? If we talk about millionaires rather than billionaires, it'd be the same thing.
I think the jealousy thing on wealth is interesting. There was, as they have now, someone done all the decorations for Christmas and, just a massive array of lights. It's interesting that climate change gets thrown out of the window. It's no one ever goes, you should actually turn all those off because it's Christmas. You're allowed
everything.
burn as much as you want. And the woman that done it said the lights and electricity bill altogether was £7,000. And she's had a torrent of abuse. And someone had said, God, in these COVID times, and I'm thinking, if she wants to spend £7,000...
She did it last year.
Yeah, she did it last year. It's bringing some joy.
Yeah.
You spend £7,000,
And often these people are raising loads of money for local things, aren't they?
Yeah, but I think there is that element now. Everyone has a view on how people should spend their money. And I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to say if you're a billionaire, you should give it all away. I'm not. What I'm saying is I think the difference between the haves and the have-nots is growing in some countries, and in other countries where I think they've got their shit together. And I've been doing a lot of research into Finland. And if I'm going to emigrate, that's where I'm going. It just seems
they seem to
so
have it together
sensible,
there, don't they?
like so sensible.
About everything.
Their reaction to COVID was like unbelievable.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
COVID has not hit a second wave in Finland and Norway because of the sense of the government and the sense of the population.
You mean common sense?
Common sense.
Cool. Who'd have thought that?
Yeah, it's working. The way they look at wealth as a nation is very, very different to here.
In what way?
In that there seems to be a sort of element that everybody's trying to look after each other. And so they don't want there to be a massive divergent range in terms of incomes. And they do want people, if they're out of work for some sort of time, getting proper support. So it isn't a sort of like you're either on universal credit and getting nothing or you're earning.
Is it kind of a distribution of wealth, or is it just, decent taxation and a fairness across the board in terms of where that goes?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of both.
Or do they have a say in actually where it goes? Do we talk about this on the podcast? The idea that if you had a list of, right, your tax has to go on that, we have to go on these things, but here's another load of stuff. 10% of your taxes, your council tax, whatever it is, can go on any of these things. You can choose where you'd like it to go, and we'll distribute funds based on where you want to go.
Yeah.
Or you go, if you want to, you can pay another £5 a month, put it into that fund, into the local wildlife, or
But you then got to have to trust that your government isn't paying £21 million for someone to be a go-between to get PPE from China, for example. So if there isn't that trust,
a kind of hopeful world there.
No, the hopeful world bit is
you just hit me with reality.
No. But this is the hopeful bit. I saw
that there's no hope.
There's loads of hope. Go to Finland. There is. Don't cry.
If you look back in the past, that you could do one thing. You can go back for 100 years and change something, or just go. You could tell your younger self, go, just do this one thing, something to do with money, wealth management. What would your advice be?
My advice would be that everything is cyclical. So whatever happens, whether the markets are up or down, a depression will always end up being a boom at some stage, and it'll always end up being a depression. That's history. And some things, I would say, in that cycle will always move upwards. So property and gold. And gold will have massive fluctuations. And I know people are going to go, oh, what about the crash? And what about blah, blah, blah? Everything is cyclical. So you do know, even when times are hard, things are going to raise. I was looking at Bitcoin. Did I tell you this?
No.
I can't remember who I was speaking to, a young person. And that's most of the population to me. And I said, I don't know enough about Bitcoin. I don't understand it. I know it's a cryptocurrency. So I thought, I'm going to find out.
Right, now you're an expert.
Now an expert. So at the moment, one Bitcoin is worth about £13,500.
At the moment?
Yeah, as of today.
Okay, that's gone up.
Yeah, it's going up. And the person I was talking to said, how much was it when it first came out? And I went, I'm guessing just a few cents, but I don't know. So I looked it up. And it was, this won't be totally exact to the decimal point, it was 0.0008 of a dollar at its inception. Yeah. And I read a story, which I guess is true from the source I saw it, that two guys, the first commercial bit of Bitcoin, went into a pizza restaurant in New York and bought 2 pizzas with 10,000 Bitcoins, which are now worth £13,500 each. And they bought a pizza.
Good grief.
And you look back and you think,
yeah,
that's one thing I'd like to know.
Yeah, just having 100 of them, would have made you a few million quid, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
When it hit, because I think a couple of years ago or so, it kind of hit about 22,000.
Yeah.
It's actually up today. I think it's up to 14.1.
Right, it was 13.5 3 days ago.
That's crazy.
So this isn't investment advice to go and get it. But if you had something at the beginning that was a few cents,
I remember it coming out.
I
didn't. I wish, of course, it's easy to go. Wish I had done now, and I've got some, but I bought fairly high, and I'm down currently.
Okay.
So I think
it's cyclical, so you're right.
Yeah, well, I think when it goes past kind of 17, 18, I'm probably on the up.
Yeah.
But that's still a long way to go. I don't even have one Bitcoin. I think I have 0.0522841.
Okay. Woohoo.
Go me, right?
Pizzas are on you.
So you wouldn't have gone back and told yourself just to buy 100 Bitcoin. It's going to be this thing called, it's a bit like Biff in Back. Have you seen Back to the Future? I know you haven't seen Star Wars. Have you seen Back to the Future?
I saw it in in Disneyland.
What, the film?
No, the set.
You don't know about the almanac?
No.
Okay.
Would you want to be really rich?
I always thought I did,
Mm.
but no, I don't know.
Nor me.
I want a bit more. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'd go back and tell myself about compound interest. I got a little example. I'd read this to myself.
Okay. So how old are you now? Like 13? Was this
Um,
when you first get money, maybe? So you're talking to
I
your
started at
18-year-old
the co-op. My first job was at the co-op when I was 16.
Okay.
Well, I give myself this example.
Fire.
A little anecdote about two young people. So when Jack turned 21, he decided to start investing $200 a month every year for 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
At age 30, he decided to stop investing altogether.
Mm-hmm.
But his friend Blake started a little later, investing $200 a month every month at the age of 30,
Mm-hmm.
all the way until the ripe old age of 67. So at the age of 67, who do you think had more money in their account?
Well, I'm going to say the second one because that's what you want me to say.
No.
I don't know. Who did?
Shall I tell you?
Yeah, go on.
At the end of 9 years, Jack invested $21,600 and ended up with more than 2.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
That's the power of compound interest. And Jack's friend Blake invested a whopping $91,200 over the course of 37 years. And at age 67, he'd built up 1.4 million, but never caught up with Jack. Basically, that 20,000 invested in 9 short years was turned into almost $2.5 million over 37 years.
And on that example, I guess they're getting the same interest.
Yes, exactly the same. And there's a graph, and I'll put a link to this, but it's pretty amazing how, if I'd have just invested between 20 and 30,
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have to worry about retirement.
Mm.
If I can go back and do things again, I wouldn't put money in a pension.
No.
I wouldn't put money anywhere where I couldn't get to it quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I think you've had illnesses and things. I had my illness 5 years ago. It makes you think about, what if I need this?
Mm.
And you've got all this money wrapped up in an account you can't get to.
My ISA over the last however many years I've had it has averaged out to 8 or 9%
Right.
interest
Wow.
per annum growth. And it's not a high risk one, but it's the same investments that pension funds are making, but they don't have the transparency. Your money goes into a pension. They say you've made a bit of money, but you don't, although you can look at it. I don't know how much is going in funds for these massive pensions.
Yeah,
I don't
true.
know, but I do for my ISA. I know that I'm paying whatever it is, 1%.
Okay.
And that's performed way better, probably just because of the overheads and all the dividends that I get on the ISA get reinvested.
Okay.
So that's the compound. I never take any money out. That's the
Yeah.
compound interest bit.
Yeah.
So you're getting interest on your interest.
That's good. Right. I'm going to wrap that up. Your brain.
And your body.
You bought a book.
I bought a book and I've made notes. Yes.
What?
Book by Bessel van der Kolk. Back in the day, your brain was your brain. I wasn't taught anything about my brain at school. I
Just
thought,
something in your head.
yeah, you've got a brain, it thinks. What else can you tell me about
Pipe
your
down,
brain?
Ellery.
Sir,
That's all we need to know, Ellery.
Tell me more.
Face.
Why
What do you want to learn?
close some tabs and shut up. So, okay, if I just threw that open, what else do you know about your brain? So you're going to inform the Martian that's just come down. Okay, so your whole life is ruled by your brain, the most complex organ ever to exist. Can you tell me what you know about your brain?
No, I don't know anything about
It
it.
wasn't a trick question, but you don't know anything about it.
No, I don't know how big it is. No,
I think it's like 75% water. It's complex and it's in your head. And I'm not saying that everyone, that's all they know, but I realise that I know very, very little about my brain. And I'm thinking, going back.
Have you seen your brain?
Yes.
How cool's that? That's more than I have.
Yeah.
How many times have you seen your brain?
I've only seen it from scans.
Oh,
when I had brain surgery. So I've seen it from the scans, like the before and after.
okay, cool. No, I was going down the route of if you watch one of your own ops.
No, I've watched my own heart being operated, but not. But they actually you have to have a general anaesthetic for brain surgery. It's one of those, I don't know, mad.
No, but I've seen those ones where they keep people awake
And then they take the brain out of their
They
head.
shut your face. No, shut up.
That's
No,
Steve Martin.
No, the man with two brains.
Yeah. He watched his other brain with the one he had.
No, the ones where they keep people awake and they
Yeah.
touch different parts and they get them to
Okay.
speak.
Okay.
They need
yeah.
them to speak as they're operating, and they go.
No, I've only seen photographs. I haven't seen it in action. So I realised how little I know, and something came on one of the mindfulness courses that I'm doing that mentioned something called the vagus nerve.
Yeah.
So all I really wanted to do was just to open people's eyes to just little bits that I've researched. And again, I know we have the caveat that I'm not a doctor, but it's just I have probably made
Or the
mistakes.
Dalai Lama.
Yeah, or the Dalai
I'm
Lama.
so glad you said that last time. I was worried people
We
were
would
going to
have got
think you were.
letters. He is a spiritual leader. All I did is I went away and thought, okay, let's just find out a little bit. I was saying it's the most complex organ we've got. We're taught very little about it, and even the simple elements are not shared in schools. In 1872, Charles Darwin wrote a book called The Expression of Emotions in Man and Animals. And obviously he's more well known for his other books, but this was the last book he wrote, I think. Mm-hmm. And what he noticed was the physical organization common to animals and humans. And one of the things that he was accused of anthropomorphism, which is putting human traits into animals. But what he was saying is that there's certain things we share. We share a fundamental brain and heart and liver, and there are similarities between. And what he was saying that was controversial at the time, is that we all have the same senses, but even complex things like emotions like suspicion or gratitude is shared by other animals. And I think when you sometimes see some of, like David Attenborough's stuff, you can see an animal acting in a way that you can, I don't think it's just us translating.
If you release, a dolphin from a fishing net, for example.
Yeah, it smiles at you before attacking you.
You're welcome, Flipper.
Then it's all over you like a rash.
Kill a dolphin.
Yeah. So I think the understanding is that...
Sorry, it's just twigged what you were saying. It's humping your leg, you mean?
Yeah. Okay, this is meant to be a science.
Sorry.
Okay.
Very
So
serious,
one of
very
the things
serious
that has come out on this and other bits that I've been reading is that emotions are rooted in biology. We often take our emotions away from our physicality as if emotions and thinking and feelings are somehow different to our physical being.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And so what they were saying is one of the things that they're rooted in biology is that you can read people's faces, so their posture, their tone of voice, and the same with animals. So a threatening behavior is the same in an animal.
Can look scared.
Yeah. And one of the things I was thinking about the other day was, when we were doing our mindfulness and I was saying our shoulders are up, I'm wondering whether I saw a cat the other day attack another cat and it comes up, doesn't it? It makes itself big. And I'm thinking, why are we putting our shoulders up? Why is our body making us do that? Is it because we're anxious or threatened or whatever? What Darwin observed was that the fundamental purpose of these emotions is to initiate movement to get to safety and to survival.
Yeah.
So it's keeping on our toes. But what he said at the time, and bearing in mind this is 150 years ago, is that prolonged escape behavior, and so this is what we now call the fight or flight with adrenaline.
Right.
He was saying if you continually have that escape behavior, if your whole life is run by it, this will put an animal at a disadvantage, because preservation depends upon the sort of Maslow hierarchy of needs. So if you're always running and escaping and fleeing, then you're not building and you're not eating and you're not reproducing. So to be in that constant state of emotional heighting becomes biological, because
you're not in the condition to look after yourself or protect yourself.
Exactly.
Although that instant reaction is to protect, but from a prolonged point of view, it's not sustainable.
No, and it's because it's just so blunt.
It's counterproductive, effectively, isn't it?
Yeah. And what he said, which is exactly what you're saying there, that if you're fighting off real or unseen enemies, there's no room for nurture or love. So the fundamentals disappear because you're just trying to survive. So one of the things that he was looking at, and has now come with advanced science, is that intense emotions involve the links to the gut and to the heart.
Yes.
And so this vagus nerve, which we're going to come into in a minute, is the nerve that actually facilitates this.
Right.
He called it pneumogastric nerve. That's what Darwin called it, and we now call it the vagus nerve.
Right, okay.
But he was saying when the mind's excited in that, often the language we'll use, and the two words that he used was gut-wrenching, and it is, or heartbreak. So there's
Yeah,
extreme
talked about that before,
emotions
haven't
you
we?
find in your heart
Yeah.
and in your gut. And evidently this little thing in your brain connects all of these things. So
Yeah, okay.
the physicality of your body and the emotional side are inextricably linked.
Yeah.
What he was saying, and what other people have said since, is that if it's just in our head, we can deal with it. So if you're not feeling the heartache or the gut wrenching, but you're going, I've got a bit of a dilemma, I need to sort this out, you get it sorted. What quite often happens is that when we have this unbearable physical pain, so, constantly feeling this gut wrenching pain or the heartache of losing somebody, or, of whatever that brings that on, whether it's real or not, is that we try and deal with that unbearable pain now by things like self-harm and drugs, so that we try and, that pain is too great to deal with us.
Okay.
If it's like something in our head that we'll work out how to do this, sorted, carry on. But if it becomes so emotional.
Yeah. No, that's good. I just immediately thought of our chat with Brian about pain in a slightly different way, from an injury, not from an emotional pain.
Yes.
But emotion was used in the definition of pain, wasn't it? About being an unpleasant experience.
Yeah.
All kind of tying together, really, isn't it?
Yes.
You can bang your knee, but you don't often group loss and, emotional upset in the same way.
Yes.
You wouldn't then go to someone and go, I need help with my broken heart.
Yes.
Because everyone, feels like you'd probably be laughed out of the room. But that is equally as physically painful
Yes.
as a bang on the knee,
Yes.
for example.
Yeah. And the fact
which
that
is okay to go and fix.
Yes. Yeah. And it's the fact that it's come from an emotion rather than from being knocked somehow makes it different. A bit like your wealth earned and won. It's a different feeling.
Yeah.
And so I've looked into this a bit more. And one of the things that I thought resonated with me was that when we did our breathing exercise in the last podcast, there's two systems I'm not going to go into big details on this, but there's two systems in your body. One is called ANS and SNS, and I can put links rather than spend loads of time doing it there. This book that I mentioned, that The Body Keeps the Score, gave a really simple example to experience these two systems. So it says, whenever you take a deep breath, you activate the SNS. As I say, this is the sympathetic nervous system, but I'll put links on this. Yeah. So when you take a deep breath, you activate the SNS. The resulting burst of adrenaline speeds up your heart, which explains why many athletes take a few short, deep breaths before starting competition. In the theatre, you're going on, you're called, you're going on for your first line, big deep breath, here I go. You're not going to breathe out, you're just going to take a big deep breath in and launch yourself into it. Exhaling, in turns, activates the PNS, which is the parasympathetic, and this slows down the heart. So if you take a yoga or meditation class, your instructor will probably urge you to pay particular attention to the exhalations, since deep, long breaths out help calm you down. And again, when people are having anxiety attacks, it's like, breathe out, breathe into this bag.
Yeah.
So the breathing that we were doing the other day, you're still...
You think it was the breathing in and out, but of course you can't do the out without breathing in.
Yeah,
So
and I think
it's interesting it's just the out.
Yeah, and we said on that, try and make the out longer.
Yeah.
I was saying that a couple of
That calms you down.
Yeah.
Right?
It says, as we breathe, we continually speed up and slow down the heart. And because of that, interval between two successive heartbeats is never precisely the same. And because of that, it's never precisely the same. So there's now a measurement called heart rate variability, can be used to test the flexibility of this system. So it's a sign, this HRV is a sign that the brake and the accelerator in your arousal system are both functioning properly and in balance. What I was reading from this is that our emotions are tied through something in our brain to our gastro system and to our heart, and that our breathing is almost the sort of energy that controls us, and that we can control our breathing, and if we calm ourselves down. So that was the first bit. The sciencey bit now is the vagus nerve. Just so people know, it's VAGUS, not as in Las Vegas, but vagus nerve represents the main component of the parasympathetic nervous system, so the PSN.
Yeah.
So this oversees a vast array of crucial bodily functions: control of mood, immune response, digestion, and heart rate. So it establishes one of the connections between the brain and the gastrointestinal tract, and sends information about the state of the inner organs to the brain. And I've never even considered that the brain is basically harvesting information from the gut and the heart and processing
like your
that.
Wi-Fi coffee machine, gathering all this data.
Yes. So what then happens is this nerve helps to regulate many critical aspects of human physiology, including the heart rate, blood pressure, sweating, digestion, and even speaking.
It's doing a load of stuff, isn't it?
It's doing a load of stuff
and
we've
you have
never
no
heard
idea.
of it.
Yeah.
Two little things that I just wanted to flag up. One is that I didn't know any of this, and there's loads of learning, and this is just a whistle-stop tour. But one of the things is that the autonomic nervous system, which we've been talking about, regulates 3 fundamental psychological states. And I didn't know this until I read this. So the level of safety determines which one of these is activated. So when we feel threatened, the first level is social engagement. So we call out for help, support, and comfort from the people around us. That's the first state. And I've always gone, oh, your adrenaline goes, it's fight or flight. It isn't. It's looking around for help is the first thing, because we are tribal.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things we've said about in these podcasts more and more is the breaking down of community. So when you're in this situation that your nervous system is on overload, your first thing is social engagement. You don't have the ability to have the range of social engagement that you used to.
And this isn't about finding a mugger in the alleyway. This is sitting watching depressing news on the TV.
Yeah.
You're feeling anxious about losing your job.
Yeah.
And if there's no one there to turn to, that's going to only be heightened, right?
Yes. Or the person that might be with you in a household.
I need comfort.
Yeah. Might not be the right person to share that with.
Yeah.
So once that has been, so with that community being going, our first instinctive turning point, social engagement, has been taken away.
Yeah.
The only way it can sort of happen if we're not meeting up is through social media, which is a clunky tool. And texting someone saying, I feel really down, isn't the same as someone putting their arm around you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we look for help, support, and comfort in the people around us. If no one comes to our aid, or if we're in immediate danger, the organism, as in the person, reverts to a more primitive way and to survive, and that's fight or flight. So that's the bit where you have to make a decision.
We've always been, I've always assumed that's the first thing.
Yes. And I was talking about this with someone, and I was trying to explain, I was using them as a guinea pig, if you like. And I said, I always use the example, you're faced with a bear, what do you do? And he went, I'll climb a tree. So that's your flight. And then he went, actually, no, I'll take my chance. I'll fight the bear. And so you can't make that decision in cold light of day. You're going to be faced with a bear and you will do one or the other. But sorry, go on.
You say what we would do in that situation actually is, see a bear. Is there anyone else I can help take this bad boy on? You know what I mean? We got him right. Look to someone else for help. Yeah. Shit, there's no one around. I'm legging it.
Well, if there is a group, if there's a group of you, the first thing is, what are we going to do,
what
guys?
do you reckon?
Yeah. What's our
your
chances?
Immediate thing is, there's a lot of us. Let's all group together and take
you
it
throw
on.
a stick, I'm going to run. Yeah. So the first bit would be the social engagement.
Cool.
So the first thing is, do we fight off or attack, or do we run to a safe place? However, there's a third option. And this is where I think the analogy with what's happening at the moment in society is very real. If we can't get away, or we're held down, or we're trapped, the organism tries to preserve itself by shutting down and expending as little energy as possible. We are then in a state of freeze or collapse. And some of the things I've been reading are saying that action is taken when you know that flight or flight isn't possible.
Yeah, exhausted your options.
And so I use the example to this guy of, okay, you're fighting the bear. 2 days later, you're in the forest, you're in a cave, and 8 bears come in. And you don't have any alternative, but your body knows getting savaged by 8 bears is going to hurt.
Yeah.
And so your body just turns off, collapses, freezes, can become unconscious. And I'm worried, if you like, that without the community around, people are getting to this end result very quickly. And there's a lot of, if I don't have the social engagement, I'm missing all of that.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I'm going to run, so I'll just hide.
Yeah.
And somebody that we mentioned before has just received some funding to do some more PT with people in vulnerable circumstances. And she posted something today that said one of the mums she was working with dropped the kid off from school, went back to bed, got up at 3, picked the child up. And that's the collapse and freeze, because there's no supporting structures.
And also we're saying it's not a physical collapse and freeze either.
Yes, it can be an emotional.
Because when your organs are so inextricably linked with your mind, mind can just shut down.
Yes, definitely.
We've talked about numbness.
Yeah, we talked about numbness. Yeah,
that's great.
So the very final thing, and this is interesting just for me, is that there's a lot of work now on stimulating this nerve because of the control and reaction it can have within the body. the first thing I read was stimulating the vagus nerve can have therapeutic effects, such as stopping episodes of SVT.
Whoa.
Which is obviously, as we well known, what I've just recently had, and can help doctors diagnose certain kinds of heart murmurs. And so I thought, I'll read on. And so the way to stimulate this nerve be achieved quite easily by employing the Valsalva maneuver. Now, before I describe it, a couple of people had mentioned, oh, have you tried this? Have you tried that? And nothing had come from the cardiologist. And one person said, hold your nose and basically blow out, with the airways blocked.
Your ass?
Blow out, yeah. No, that's talking. So you basically keep your mouth closed, pinch your nose and try to exhale forcefully. And this increases pressure in the sinuses in the inner ears and then has an effect on your heart. And this person told me, and I tried it and it didn't get me out of SVT, but it's like...
And that's what that maneuver is?
Yeah.
Was it called
It's called Valsalva maneuver.
So the Valsalva is that? Is
yeah,
that you're holding
that
your nose
maneuver is holding your nose and blowing.
Creating that pressure.
But that's something I've done in the past when you come off an aeroplane and you've got your blocked, your blocked ears. And so it's this nerve is looking after your senses and doing that. And it's like, there's so much here. And I think we'll come back and revisit this but I think the takeaway I wanted with this was that bit going about social engagement. And every week I've come here and said, clients have got a different approach. And this week it's gone up a scale again. People are going, I just need to see people. I just need to have some form of... And I thought the interesting thing, I spoke to a client today and we were talking about WhatsApp groups and they've dried up for me and for this person.
Right. Okay.
People post one or two things. And so one of the things I'm going to do on the WhatsApp group you're on is I'm going to send something tonight is going to say, okay, boys, 2021, let's have a discussion on WhatsApp where we're going. Let's have some engagement. Instead of sitting in our homes watching I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, let's have some proper engagement, some proper banter. And we're just hiding away. And that whole element of our lives has been taken. And it's easy just to forget it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the vagus nerve.
I like it.
Cool. Thank you.
What happens with the vagus stays with the vagus, right? We haven't touched this in a while. Very last thing. I got an email from our reporting engine that we use saying we officially ranked as 233rd in the Ukraine. And I text you, didn't I? You went, I'm really happy with this. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about this.
I was running around the room.
Just being ranked in any country is pretty cool, right? I don't know what it
means.
And
a couple of people said, because I did tell some people, and someone went, is it out of 250? I went, no, it's out of the whole world. It isn't. There's no boundary to podcasts. There's 800,000 podcasts. So it's...
I mean, it's a good question though, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't care. It's still a ranking.
Yeah, it is.
And I went on the website that you got it from, and they only do the Ukraine.
Yeah, it's
fairly limited in terms.
All these different stats are coming online. The more podcasts that we do, so I don't know. It's patchy. The reporting's patchy.
Do you think it's the Catherine the Great references? In the same way that
the Russian.
Well, we're top dollar now in America is California, and that's because Facebook have got a small team on us. I'm going to send something controversial to see if I get another warning letter.
Yeah, why not?
So that's why California's top, I reckon.
Yeah.
And then the Catherine the Grey, we've also talked about.
Oh yeah, California is still 21% of our US audience.
We've mentioned Putin.
Did we
do Stalin? Did you edit Stalin?
No,
that's in there.
That in,
yeah, I like that bit. So yeah, we have had a lot more references to Russia recently, haven't we? So.
Yeah. Our list is quite long. Go through it really quickly. So United Kingdom, obviously. United States, Switzerland, Germany, Canada, Australia, France, Ireland, Netherlands, Russia, India, Philippines, Singapore, Pakistan, Sweden, United Arab Emirates, Spain, Greece, Portugal, Indonesia, Brazil, Italy, Ukraine, New Zealand, Argentina, Turkey, Belgium, Suriname, Hungary, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kenya, Luxembourg, Romania, and Japan. I think it's fair to say we're international.
Yeah.
We're a hit.
We're up ourselves.
Yeah. That's it for this episode. Well done for getting this far, and thanks for listening. All links and references will be in our show notes. Please make sure you subscribe to us via your favourite podcasting app, and if you're enjoying this pod, then please do spread the word. Tell a friend, family member, and whoever you may feel would benefit from having us in their ears. Follow us on Instagram at I'mFinecast, and send us your feedback and questions via our email to imfinecast@gmail.com. In the next episode, we got another installment of We Are All Being Played. I'm a little bit intrigued about that. I know nothing of that.
Okay, I won't tell you anything.
Very good. So we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye-bye.